Hello, everyone. Good morning to all of you. Hope you will be doing great. I'm Vishal Dhar, representing Novel Vista today, and I'll be today's host for this webinar session. Uh, I request all of you, if you can hear me clearly and if you can see the screen, please let us know if there is any issue in the chat option. You can use the chat option to inform us. We have a few more attendees adding up in this webinar session, and we'll be quickly starting in next couple of minutes. Meanwhile, if you can just give us a confirmation that you're able to hear me clearly. Okay, I can see some responses coming up. Can see the screen, can hear you clearly. All right. Okay, great. I guess most of the responses are positive. Everyone is able to hear me clearly. As I said, my name is Vishal Dhar and I'm representing Novel Vista today. And we have this webinar scheduled today. And Let me give you a quick brief about Novel Vista. Novel Vista is an accredited training organization and is an 8-year-old company. We provide trainings and certifications and have already trained more than 30,000 participants across various practices, processes, and technologies. Being one of the largest training organizations with a huge portfolio of more than 2,000 courses and a team of 300 plus trainers, we have always believed in knowledge sharing initiatives. And one of such activities is webinars, wherein we introduce our participants to industry experts. And currently, as we all are facing in the nationwide lockdown due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we have extended our webinars and made it an ongoing activity wherein you can gain more insights about various topics and you can hear from industry experts. Uh, our today's speaker for this webinar is Mr. Prasanna Shivkamath. I'll quickly give you an introduction about Mr. Prasanna. He holds the expertise in leading and managing blended learning programs across geographies and has led the learning function at ETOS for APAC and Middle East regions. He has led various cross-culture teams, done the analysis of training needs and managing budgets. He has worked on increasing adoption and engagement within the region, and he prefers responding, overreacting, and has been successful in doing so most of the times. He's enabling and empowering individuals and teams to be productive is his passion. He likes technology, embrace the change, and respect people. Currently, he's working as the director HR at ETOS University. So, as I can see, we have a good number of people who have added up in this webinar. So I'll quickly uh, give the make presenter of this webinar, Mr. Prasanna. I have just made you the presenter, and if you can request you to take this ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sure you all can see my screen already. Thank you very much, Vishal, for the introduction. Let me also do a quick more introduction about myself. So my name is Prasanna Shivkamath, and I am definitely not a monk or a guru. So the topic when it comes to mindfulness, many of times we have been interacting on this topic or having conversations related to meditation, mindfulness with the people who are typically monks or who are gurus or who are into the practice of it. So this clarification was required. So I come from a corporate world like you and many others who are there on the call. So I am responsible for digital learning and leadership development at Atos. With an experience of more than 20 years in the industry, and the experience has been across different domains and different functions, you can say. So I had been into project management, service delivery management, business operations, and for last 5 years I have been into a learning and development domain. I have a passion for learning always, and personally I am hugely benefited by mindfulness. So what all things I gained out of it, what all things I do as a practice is something which we will be discussing today. Of course, along with the importance of other skills for the future, but then mindfulness is the key topic here. And the reason I am trying to tell you that it is based on my personal experiences, because see, cognitively understanding about the topic is one aspect, but then practically when you use it, when you start getting the benefits out of it, that is a completely different world altogether. So when you understand the topic as a construct of psychology or maybe a practice of spirituality, that is one aspect and nothing wrong in that. But then when you start applying it, implementing it in your day-to-day behavior, actions and emotions, that is when you will start seeing the real benefits of it. So that's the whole intention of this session today, and I am sure at the end of the session you will definitely have a few things which are of value to you, which you can take ahead in your life. So with that, let me start with the next slide. 1 second. Okay, I think you can see now. Let me just once take the audience view. Okay, it's fine. The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. Welcome to Mindfulness and Future Skills. Now, what is this? If you see, in today's world, especially because of the lockdown and the constraints on air travel, we are not getting into a flight mode or airplane mode. But I will start this session with a flight mode or airplane mode. And every mobile phone has this, every laptop almost has this. If you go in the notifications, Chrome notifications or Explorer notifications, you will find the option of a flight mode or airplane mode. Same way in all the mobiles, Android or iOS, you will find the option of airplane mode. My invitation and request to you now is to put your phones on airplane mode. So let me do myself when I'm telling you, so that we are all on the flight mode. Now that why this flight mode? Of course, it is to avoid distractions and any kind of in between calls or WhatsApp messages or social media notifications. But more than that, I will just tell you the power of getting into an airplane mode every day for 10 minutes. Now, this is something which I will tell you that if you spend just 10 minutes every day in the flight mode and then go into your act of meditation or writing or yoga or whatever you like, but just being with yourself, the so-called me time, not the time when you sleep, not the sleep time, but the me time, being with yourself for 10 minutes. In 365 days, you will be spending 3,650 minutes with yourself, which accounts to almost 60 hours, which means almost a whole week in a year you will be spending just with yourself. Now, that's a tremendously powerful thing, and many people confuse power here because many people think that the more busy they are, the more powerful they are. We see a lot of people in industry or maybe in other fields also, where you see people who are busy and we assume that they are powerful. No, if you really get into the details of it, you will find that people who are powerful are the ones who can find time for themselves. And this is the opportunity every day to be just in the flight mode for 10 minutes. So away from people, away from technology, away from network, and is for 10 minutes. So this is an extremely powerful thing. I request you to try it maybe for a 7 days or so, just 10 minutes. And then what I do in that 10 minutes for myself, I will show you. But then I'm sure you might have your own ways of using that time for yourself. So that I will leave it to you. But then in my case, I will definitely share how I use it to do the mindfulness exercise and mindfulness activities. Okay. This is not a disturbance. This is not a disturbance which you just heard. It is the white noise. If you see, even just for those 10 minutes, if you listen to the white noise, you will find that you are just being with yourself, observing your thoughts, observing what is happening around you, how do you feel, looking at your emotions, looking at your thoughts. And the power of looking at your emotions and thoughts is that you will be able to distinguish yourself from your thoughts, from your feelings, which means you will be able to see clearly that you are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings. So with that, let us get into today's topic of challenges of today's life before we look into mindfulness and others. So here I request Vishal to start with the opinion polls. We have 3 opinion polls for each one of you to answer. So I request Vishal to please start.
Sure, Mr. Prasanna, I'll just launch the polls. So here is the first question, and I request every one of you to select one of the options for the question, which you can see on the screen. I request again to vote quickly for this question, and then we can move on to the another one. All right, so we have got almost 60% votes on this, and let's wait for a couple of more seconds. Okay. Mr. Prasanna, can you see the screen right now? I have just shared the response you have got.
Yes, I can see. So for the question, with the things going around, how do you see? I can see that almost 81% people have said that businesses will change drastically. There are 16% people who say that there will be change but not visible, and around 3% people believe that there won't be much of changes. Okay, good. So with this, we'll move to the next question.
Okay.
I think Vishal forgot to put on the airplane mode.
Just a second, Mr. Prasanna. I'm so sorry for this glitch.
No problem at all. No problem.
The next question is, what is your topmost challenge of today's life? You can see the options as well. Okay. All right. Last couple of seconds to close this question. We've already got good responses. All right. This is the response we have got from the audience.
Okay. So the answers are managing time for 17% of people. Almost 69% people say achieving peace and satisfaction, and around 14% people are saying that it is people and customer management which is the topmost challenge. Okay, and now the third and the last opinion poll, please.
Okay. So the last question is, what according to you is the topmost future skill? All right. Okay, let's close this as well. And let me just share the responses. Here we are.
Yeah, we have almost 61% people saying mindfulness as a very important thing to have in future. Empathy, there is 11%, and design thinking 28%. Of course, to be very honest, these three are different topics in a way, because design thinking is more of a methodology which is used for designing products and services, whereas empathy is a skill. There's some background noise, Vishal. I think if you can put on mute, then it would be good.
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Empathy, as I said, is very different from the other two, and of course, mindfulness is a state which can be achieved on face-to-face basis on topic-to-topic levels. Okay, so thank you very much for the responses given for all the three questions, and thanks Vishal for supporting with the poll. Let's move on to the next slide. So empathy. So when we talk about empathy, of course, only 11% think that it is a very important skill for the future, or the requirement for the future. I personally think that empathy is more critical, especially in the coming times. And when we are talking this about coming times or the new world or the things which are going to change, let us spend some time there. So are there things which were not going to happen and they are now going to happen? Is that the case? Might not be. If you see the
I'm sorry
things
to
like
interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Prasanna. I believe we cannot see your screen right now. I'm getting too many responses, and if you can please cross-check.
okay,
We cannot see your screen.
now.
Yes. Now we can see it. Yes. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. So what I was saying was that even though if you see the way things are changing, the way world is changing, it was changing anyways. Of course, the pace was not as fast as it is now. So this COVID scenario has been like a catalyst for pushing some of the topics, and in a good way, bad way, some things will change for betterment. Like for example, the focus on healthcare, the focus on well-being, the focus on people connect, and the focus which we are going to give on online learning, for example, those things will pick up. At the same time, there are some things which are having their own disadvantages. So I am not an expert on the disease now nor the pandemic, so I will not get into that. But my point is how things were changing any which ways. Take my personal example and my role. My role as someone who is responsible for digital learning is not invented in the last 1 or 2 months. It was not when our honorable prime minister said that there will be a 21-day lockdown and my role was created as a person who is responsible for digital learning. I have been in this position for 2 years, and if you see as a role per se, I am 100% sure the role of someone who heads or leads digital learning is there for many years now. So the topic of online learning or virtual learning was always there. It was having its own percentage. There were some good things about it, some bad things about it. Like for example, MOOCs had very good numbers when it comes to registration, but completion numbers were extremely low. Massive online open courses. Then the use of mobile was done for learning, but not acknowledged the way we would say in a mobile learning environment. or creation of just-in-time learning, or creation of virtual reality using uh, different new tools and technologies for learning. So now you will suddenly see that there will be a pace. So digital disruption, for that matter, was always happening, or some say customer centricity was always happening. But then suddenly you will see there will be a huge speed and pace for those topics. So that's how the things will change. And I think there empathy plays a extremely important role, because unless and until I am not able to put myself in your shoes, I will not really get the kind of pain, the kind of suffering, the kind of requirements you have to solve your day-to-day problems, to solve your business needs, or to come up with new innovative ideas. And that is extremely important in a customer centric world, in a digital world, because unless and until I understand you better, I will not be able to offer you solutions and services which will solve your problem. So empathy that way becomes an extremely important part. Of course, from a people management side, I would not say that this is something new, which has always been important. If you are a people manager, you should empathize with your team, you should empathize with your colleagues, and to an extent of both customers as well as other stakeholders like suppliers and partners. So this topic becomes extremely important. The next one which we see is emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence has been there for a long time, but the real importance of it will be seen in the coming years. With the way things are changing, you will see mental flexibility to give up the things which were there with you and to take on things which were not there, and to accept and get expertise on those topics. So that is something which will need you to be mentally stable and emotionally strong. We talk about going back to normal, we talk about the old world. That is not going to happen. We all know that very well. Will there be no normalcy? Of course not. There will be normalcy, but then that will not be the same as it was in the past. And that, as I said, was anyways going to happen. It has been accelerated because of the pandemic. So emotional intelligence that way will be extremely critical skill in the future, along with empathy. Empathy is a part of emotional intelligence rather, and I'm sure you had some sessions in past, or there are some other sessions which are also planned on this topic. So to get into the details, of course, because today's focus is on mindfulness, so I don't want to get into too many details of it, but I want to touch upon this topic of emotional intelligence, how you being aware about your own environment and about your surroundings, and having the skills of understanding other people, regulating your emotions, motivating yourself, become extremely important in the present world. Now, resilience is another topic which is spoken very lightly sometimes without even understanding the different parameters and different attributes which are there in resilience. So facing something as a challenge, coming out of that challenge, coming out with flying colors out of that challenge. So all those things we know, but then if we try to break it up, you can see the different attributes which are there in resilience, starting from strength, having the required confidence, which can come from your competence, which can come from your self-esteem, building and motivating yourself, how you protect yourself, the kind of efforts which you have to put, accepting change, bringing that change, and being agile in the whole process of looking at the new problems and course correcting yourself ongoingly. So that is how the whole topic of resilience becomes extremely important. Now comes our topic of mindfulness, which is there for today. Now, before we get into the topic of mindfulness, let me share my personal journey about this topic. Since my childhood, I was always fascinated with the topic of when it comes to personal development or behavioral change. So I read several books. My father was an expert, or you can say he was having the knowledge of progressive muscle relaxation, which is just a simple technique to relax your body and relax your mind. So I used to practice that, but all said and done, I was not aware exactly how these things can be beneficial. That is why I started this session today by talking about One aspect is to cognitively understand mindfulness as a construct of psychology or as a practice of spirituality, which has been there for thousands of years, especially in India. When it comes to using it for yourself, finding the practical, pragmatic benefits out of it, that's a completely different game. And my invitation to you is to be in that game. I'm not saying if someone wants to do a research on this, I'm not saying that you should not do. Please feel free to do. It is good for the society, it is good for the human race. So absolutely fantastic. But each one of us don't want to do that. We have our other topics to manage, and this becomes one of the things which will be helpful for us. And that is where I'm coming from, that how this thing can change your perspective about everything, right from the way you do your first activities in the morning to how you eat, how you take bath, how you go for walk, how you listen to music, how you write a journal. So there can be hundreds and hundreds of things which you do in a day, and how being mindful in doing those activities becomes extremely different from what you were doing in the past. Now, many people will have a question in mind, that how do we differentiate between meditation and other things which you do from mindfulness. So let me first address that, because that is critical. Now, when we talk about meditation, meditation is the exercise. If I want to give the analogy of a gym, it is like you going into a gym and doing your muscle training, your strength building, using the different instruments and equipments which are there in a gym. You do your muscle training. Now that you do for an hour or half an hour or whatever time you spend in the gym. After doing that, for the rest of the whole day, you carry that quality of fitness along with you. Same way, when you do meditation for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that's the exercise part of it. Once you are out of it, then for the rest of the day, you have the ability to carry that quality of mindfulness, and that can be applied into different topics throughout the day. You can use it in the early morning meeting which you have with your team, like really doing a mindful meeting, having your agenda with you, knowing what things are to be covered, being fully present to what kind of conversations are going along with the team members, understanding and empathizing with your team members, that yes, being assertive to push your topics, but at the same time acknowledging the space and the kind of challenges the team members are facing. So it can be a different meeting altogether, like you are really being mindful, being fully present, 100% present in the room, and not like one person is watching the Facebook feeds, one person is there trying to answer to some email on mobile, or someone is there physically but not mentally there. That's the bigger problem, rather more dangerous than maybe a Facebook or a email, where you are sitting there, ideally you are not even being aware of what is being spoken. So your presence is physically there but mentally not there, and many a times these things happen in meetings. And how you can bring that space where actually a mindful meeting can be done, and then you will realize that you don't have to spend 1 hour meeting there. A 20 minutes meeting would be more than sufficient to cover all the topics very effectively, yet making the whole thing very meaningful. So that's one example. Now that quality, once you have, you can take it to other levels. And will it be there for all 24 hours? Honestly, in my case, I don't have that ability. There are some people who might be having it for the whole day, possible, and they might have that much practice. So it's absolutely because of the efforts and the kind of time they have spent with practicing it. So there might be surely the people who can do that. But for you and I, who work in a typical corporate environment, or having into a business or any other service which we are doing, I think even if we can manage to have this mindfulness quality in some of the activities in our day, when you spend time with your family, like being fully there, even for small amount of time, when you spend time on meetings, as I said, it can be when you are doing some creative work like writing, painting, it can be anything. And most of the times the creative work part, when you do, you become mindful. We don't realize that, but we are mindful. Like you don't even realize that you have spent an half an hour or 1 hour doing some sketching or some painting. But when it comes to the other activities, we don't relate to them that way. Those things also can be done in a mindful way, and you can have the same kind of experience or the same quality of experience when you are doing those things. So when I started doing mindfulness maybe a year back, I first came across several mobile applications, and I wanted to do it in a very easy way. I didn't want to take the long route of spending days of full day meditation, because I could not afford that also, because I have my job to manage, I have a family to take care of. I cannot spend 7 days, 8 days, 10 days going to some place or some resort and then doing that. So I thought the best way is to do it in a very practical way, where I can spend only 10 minutes, of course, in the airplane mode, because I'll tell you the advantage of that airplane mode, because there are so many people who are the WhatsApp Betal. You might have heard about that Vikram Betal story, where the Betal comes and sits on the shoulder of Vikram every day after some telling a story. So same way, these WhatsApp Betals, social media Betals, mobile Betals will come and sit on your shoulder even if you don't want, because they will not. And it's not about blaming any person. We do the same with other people. So the whole point is that how do you manage that distraction is important, rather than uh, offending anyone, I would say. So that's why I'm saying that 10 minutes of airplane mode I started around a year back, you can say. The kind of benefits I have got are phenomenal. I reduced my weight from 92 kgs to 74 kgs I am today. I had several things which I would say that which were not good for my health, like smoking, consumption of alcohol. Now these were the things which were not helping me anyways, but these were like escape mechanisms, just making me away from my problems. Finding, like, for example, I'm feeling stressed, go and have a smoke. So these were the things which I thought that okay, everyone does that, what's bad, so it's manageable. But I could see that there are options. I'm not going into the right or wrong of it, or the good or bad of it. Nothing on that topic. My point is, are there any choices? Was there a choice for me? Past, I was thinking that there is no choice for me. I don't have a choice. It was something which I was doing involuntary, like breathing. But now I could see that suddenly there was a choice, and there are better choices. And those choices are not only helping me have a good health, but even mentally, that preoccupation for things like alcohol or a cigarette is no more there now. So there is no preoccupiedness that how do I do that, what do I do that, what next. So that one thing which keeps you too much focused or too much engrossed or obsessed about, you suddenly find that that a real freedom you can experience, a liberation from your own bad habits, I can say. And I am using the word bad just for the understanding. I personally don't think that anything is a good habit or bad habit. It's all about your own personal way of looking at it and how you moderate it. But in the absence of a better word, I'm just saying that you can get rid of those kind of habits. So for me, it was that. Then did it stop there? Absolutely not. I could see the way I spend time with people, both in my personal life as well as professional life. I could see the kind of new initiatives I can start the moment I am having mindfulness as a attribute, as a quality for me to use in my daily life. I can see that there are several things which I can do which I was not doing in past. So the list is endless. Mindful eating, for example. Many people talk about you should have this diet, that diet. I'm not getting into that. I'm not saying that diets are good or bad, or there are good plans or bad plans. Nothing like that. But then honestly, it's the endless thing. You will never be able to come to one final diet. So rather, why don't eat what you have been eating for so many years, which you grow in your own area. You know that this is something which is available easily, rather than trying to find a thing which is which has to be imported from some other country just because it is good for their health. It doesn't make any sense that you also start consuming it. So I would say rather eat the things which you have always been eating, which you have done from your childhood. Your parents have been eating it, so no harm in that. Only thing is, what is important is when you become mindful, you will be able to see that you can eat it in the right portions. Also, you can be also aware about the kind of quantities which are required for your body. So those are the things which are possible when you start doing mindfulness things. Now here I am showing how it is important not just in your personal life but in corporate world. Now the three things which you are seeing, the three images which you can see here, these three images are not from a yoga center or a meditation center or anything. All these three images are from Salesforce. So Salesforce in their all offices, almost all I can say, if not all, have mindfulness zones for their employees, as well as maybe I don't know whether the customers or any other visitors are also allowed, but at least their employees have this option of just have to keep their phone outside, mobile phone outside somewhere in the locker. They can get into it, the mindfulness zone and use for meditation and practicing mindfulness. So you can see how the corporates have also acknowledged the power of you being fully there in you doing what you want to do. It's as simple as that. Like you being 100% there mentally, emotionally, physically in an act which you want to do. Is as simple as that. And when you are doing the meditation also, you are simply being with yourself. So none of this requires a high-end technology, none of this requires a very posh location or something which you can see right now on the screen. This is just the pictures which I got from internet, so I'm showing this. But honestly, you can do mindfulness activity anywhere, literally anywhere, any place, anytime. I will get into that in the maybe the last part, where we will talk about some of the constraints or myths people have because of which they don't do it. And as I said, even for me it was a problem that I thought that I first thought that it is more spiritual, more religious, will I be able to do it? But then I could see that even using a mobile app I can do meditation and mindfulness for 10 minutes every day, and it's as simple as that. I started exploring, I came across two apps. So before this, yeah, this one. So these are these two apps which I came across. So one was Calm, which I thought that it's a good app. Like it had good content, user interface was nice, the kind of pictures, images, music, videos was really appealing. Then I also could see that Headspace is another app which is equally good and it has its own benefits. So I am suggesting you can go not only these two, there are hundreds of other apps, I am 100% sure. And I would say the preferred app which works well for you. You can look at the different languages in which it is available, if it suits your own mother tongue or your native language or whatever works for you. Also the presentation, also the language, also the kind of interfaces which are available. So this all depends on how you want to see it and how you would like to use it. So anything which works better for you, you can choose it. In my case, I am going with Headspace, and I will just show you a few things which are available in this particular app. And let me know if you can see my video now. I'll just play the video. Keep watching. There is no voice, so don't worry about it. I will be putting the voice over. So this is the app for Headspace, and in Headspace there are several things which are available. So even if you take the free part, I will suggest that you should go for a free version without investing any money into it. Of course, you are investing your time and attention, but don't invest your money to start with, because you don't know whether it will work for you or not, or is there a better option for you. So you can take that. But once you start, you will start seeing that there are several things which can be done in a app like Headspace. So let us first see what is available in the sleep part. Now I don't want to digress into the sleep topic because it's a different topic and a complete topic in itself. But let me tell you, because many people in today's world are conscious about their well-being and health, so they follow a lot of diets, they do a lot of exercise regimes, they give a lot of importance to all these things, and they forget sleep. We all say that the three pillars of health are exercise, mindful eating, or maybe diet plans and all those things. But most of the times we forget something which is extremely important, and that is the amount of sleep which you need every day. There is a very good book on this, why we sleep. If you want, you can note down the name of the book. uh, the name of the book is Why We Sleep. Extremely powerful book. You will know why sleep is so important. And in this particular app, honestly, I don't use this app too much, because I personally think that one person has to sleep for the given amount of time, that is more important. What music or what things you want to do, get that sleep. I think it's personal thing, so it's up to each one of us. So I don't use this particular part, but then you can definitely explore. So that's about sleep. After completing sleep, the next tab you can see move. Now move is a tab for mindful exercising. Now mindful exercising, again, here also I will insist that the core strength of Headspace is about meditation and mindfulness. So these are the additional things which they have put. If you like it, use it. Else, I think you should go with what you like, which is like, for example, some people like Zumba, some people like to do walk, simple walk. I love that, because if you go for a walk listening to a music or audio book, I think nothing like it. So it depends on person to person, but some people who like to do in-home exercise, these are some of the good workouts which are available as a reference. Now then we move to the most important point, and that is where the real magic happens, which is to find several topics which are available for meditation. Now this is a guided meditation available on basics. There are stress and anxiety related topics. Now stress and anxiety you can see here on the screen. Now that itself is not the topic. Inside that you will find several topics or subdivided subtopics which are related to stress and anxiety. Same way, performance mindset, personal growth. There are several topics which are available inside personal growth. So you can choose whatever is important for you at that point in time. Now when I choose, for example, in personal growth, if I take, say, priority or prioritization. Now prioritization in Headspace is at 3 levels. It's a basic prioritization for 10 days, intermediate for the next 10 days, and the last 10 days advanced prioritization. What I do is, I'm just telling you the practical tips. I simply download all the 3 sets: basic, intermediate, and advanced. Why? Because when I'm using and going on airplane mode, I will have no internet available. So I don't want it to be a stoppage. So technology is not bad. Technology, how you use it, is what is important. So I will be using technology in my way. I don't want internet available for those 10 minutes, means I don't want internet. So I simply go on airplane mode, but then I'm using my mobile phone. I have my Headspace in my mobile where it is already downloaded. So it is not a stoppage at all. And then I listen for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever time frame I want to choose, and I complete my meditation activity. So my invitation to you is that this works better. Now it's up to you. If you like it, well and good. And the second thing is, it's not a stoppage in a way, because where there is no internet or you are commuting or wherever it is, and if you don't want to get any calls or any disturbance, I think then also it helps. So downloading upfront will be a really helpful thing. Now let's move to the next part. So these are the topics, you can just have a look. So it's there for students, it's there for small children, small kids. You also have the statistics of how many sessions you have done, how many hours you have done, what is the average time you spend every day on the activities. So this gives you a little bit of gamification is done to give you the boost and give you the motivation. Now this is the journey where it covers about the different topics. So you can see the topics which I have done, right from balance to appreciation to prioritization to self-esteem. So these are typically the topics which are either 10 days, 20 days or 30 days. And whatever is the duration, I try to make sure that I complete that. So for example, if I take self-esteem, then I make sure that I complete the 30-day program of self-esteem before switching to any other topic. So like fully being focused and completing it for the 30 days. So that helps, because it will complete the whole story which is running for that particular topic. And the topics are extremely interesting and relevant. So I request you should have a look at it. Now, in the interest of time, what I will do is I will just show you a few things which are available in the apps. Like for example, in Headspace, it tells you it's a guided meditation. When we say guided meditation, it means it will tell you and teach you some of the techniques, and there is a voiceover which is guiding you when you are doing the meditation. Like for example, let us quickly play what is body scan. Now, body scan is a technique that will help you see the different senses in the body. So if you, like for example, your body is doing one thing and your mind is doing other thing. Body scan is the activity which will bring both body and mind together. And how do you do that? You sit down, and when you start meditation, you start from the beginning, like from your head to your leg. So imagine it's like a photocopier light going from your head, slowly moving down, scanning your body. Look at give attention to the part of the body where the light is, and see what is comfortable, what is not comfortable. Don't change any feeling. Don't resist any uncomfortable feeling. Just observe. If you see, shown again, right from the beginning, and just being objective, looking at different parts of the body and scanning it throughout. With a little practice, this technique will help you settle both the body as well as mind, because your awareness will be increased and your being present to that will be increased. So this is one technique. The next one also I want to show, there are many, by the way, this is just a sample which I'm showing. So body scan is one. Next is noting, another powerful technique. I personally think is extremely powerful, because what happens in noting is when you start observing your thoughts, because many people, they think that while doing meditation, if someone disturbs it, hurts them. Like, it's like, why are you coming here, why are you bothering me, I am doing meditation. Especially when you have kids and family and other people who are in the house, so you will be having some distractions. They don't care whether you are in mindfully doing something or you are doing meditation or what else, because they have their own topics to manage. Many people find it difficult. My invitation to you is that forget about all those distractions. Your real distractions will start from your inside. If you are alone, completely isolated, without anyone bothering you, without internet, without mobile, without people around you, you will still have a lot of distractions, and those distractions are coming from your feelings, those are coming from your thoughts. Is it wrong? No. Will it stop? No. It will stop only when you stop breathing. So it will always be there. So how do you deal with it? The best way to deal with it is to not deal with it, which means just observe them. Don't try to resist them. Don't try to push them away. Don't try to run away from them. At the same time, don't chase behind them. Like a dog chases a car, you don't chase them. You just stand on the traffic signal and watch cars coming and going. It's like that. Like, the thoughts will come and the thoughts will go. Let them go. Let them come again. Let them go. And that is noting. Let us quickly see in this video how noting is explained. The voiceover is not there, so I am trying to put voice from my side. So sometimes you are meditating, your mind will wander. You may don't know how to react to that. Noting gives you direction and a clarity to how do you look at it. In that moment, you just pause and identify the nature of distraction. Oh yeah, thought. Oh yeah, feeling. So when you are looking at noting, it makes it easier to just let go when you start observing it, and then come back to your object of focus. Now, object of focus can be breathing or whatever you have, but then you can come back again to that. So gently just noting the nature of distraction and coming back again. So the temptation which will come is to try and catch and hit every thought which comes, which is a never-ending thing. So you don't have to do that. Don't run behind, don't chase behind these thoughts. Just observe and come back. Like a feather, you just have to softly place on that thought and come back without using a hammer, without using a bullet, just like a gentle feather, touching the thought, observing it, acknowledging it rather, and coming back to the area of focus. So that's how noting is done. So these are just techniques, and as I said, there are several such things. Visualization is a technique. Then there are various techniques. How do you manage the sound around you? So how do you accept pain, any kind of pain or any kind of disturbance which is there in your body? So there are different techniques for that, and I would request you to just go through those techniques, and it is there for different apps. So I think before we get into the question answer mode. We have some 15 minutes, 10 minutes left rather. So I would say, Vishal, shall we get into a question answer mode where we can see if there are any questions people want to ask about mindfulness or in general?
Surely, Mr. Prasanna. We can start with the Q&A session. I would request all the participants, in case you have any questions, you can use your question and answer panel on the right hand side of your screen to ask us any question.
Okay, and in the meantime, when you are asking questions, let me just touch upon some of the topics as a summary. So one thing which is important before even going to the summary is that when it comes to these things like mindfulness, it is important to have a support structure. Now, what we have done is, me along with my friends Shantesh and Pritanchi, we have come up with something known as Creating 13. You can see this, and I would not only recommend but assert you to go and subscribe to this post. It's a free blog which is available on several topics. You can see there are topics like being, possibility, creation. So one topic which I personally like and love is the topic of slowness, which is extremely close to mindfulness, which is extremely close to the space or the zone of being in flow. So these are things which we keep sharing. I thought that I should share this with you, and if you are part of this, I'm sure you will start contributing in the coming days. And I think this kind of support structures will definitely help us all being in that state of mindfulness. So maybe with that I will move to the next, which is on the summary part. So if you see, the new world will require, as of course almost 80% of you said that the world will be changing and it has been changing. So with that comes the requirement of being a new being for the new world. We see the importance of newer skills and abilities like emotional intelligence, mental flexibility, resilience, and of course mindfulness. We also saw the use of applications like Calm and Headspace, which can be used for your daily mindfulness activity. When it comes to meditation, one important tip which I said that I will address, which is about the myths around it. So shall I sit in a lotus position? Answer is no. You can sit on a chair, you can lie on a bed, and you can still do meditation. Yeah, and I am not going into the purist form of it or the right and wrong part of it. So let us start somewhere. Then is there a target or a level to be achieved? Answer is no. There is no particular level, because no one can count that level, and your level and my level will be anyways different. So there is no point in trying to reach somewhere in meditation. It's like not like, yeah, I'm doing meditation for 10 days and I'm not reaching anywhere. You will not reach anywhere anyways. So don't worry about that. Just be there, sit there and start it. Whatever experience you have, that is the outcome of the whole thing. So don't be bothered about anything. Don't be going into it with too many expectations. Is not a very good idea. Like a formula, like a technique or a trick to find something as a solution. Don't do that. Start it as a practice. Start it more like giving time for yourself. Just 10 minutes of time for yourself, because otherwise throughout the 24 hours you are running behind someone else's agenda. It can be the agenda of your boss, it can be the agenda of your family members, it can be the agenda of your friends, colleagues, relatives, but you are running behind someone else's agenda. Start spending at least 10 minutes for your own self, just being with you without doing anything, and then let's see what the magic happens. Then, as I said, with the use of mobile, if you start doing it, the advantage is you can do it anytime, you can do it anywhere, and you can do it at your own particular pace, at time pace you want. Support communities are important of like-minded people. That is why I shared creating13.com, where we want to build a community of people who are like-minded, who wants to have conversations related to mindfulness, peace of mind, anxiety management, stress management. So that definitely helps. And last but not the least, extremely important takeaway of this whole conversation is the flight mode. Be in flight mode every day, at least for 10 minutes minimum. And then in next 8 to 10 days, you can see how the magic happens. Yeah, Vishal, so coming back again to you, sorry. Is there anything which we need to answer? I don't see any questions here, at least for me.
Yes, Mr. Prasanna, we have a lot of questions coming up. I will read one by one it for you. We
Please.
have question from Mr. Anand Lal Chakravarti. He's asking us about the app which you showed. Please share the name of that app, and is that app paid?
Okay, so before even answering the question, Vishal, because it is 11:56 and as per the promise we had the session from 11 to 12, I have no problem in extending it for some time to answer the questions, which we will do. But then there might
Yeah.
be people who might have to leave at the set time at 12 o'clock for their other commitments. So let me first quickly thank each one of you who participated today in this conversation. And really, as I said, your time, your attention was all fully yours, and you gave it very generously to listen to this whole topic. I shared some of my personal stories. They might be relevant or irrelevant to you, but the whole takeaway of this thing is that mindfulness as a activity or meditation as a exercise is extremely powerful. You start it in whatever way you can. That is the only request with which I want to say thank you and bye to all of you. With that, now coming back to the questions. Yes, the apps were, I will just show again, maybe Headspace was one app, and the other was Calm, which I've talked about. But then there are many. So I'm not saying that you should use only these. These are just examples. For me, Headspace works. I'm using Headspace. But then for different people, it can be different thing, and nothing right and wrong about it. Okay, next question, Vishal.
All right. We have many questions coming up. Another one is the biggest problem with me is concentration, how to focus on it, and how to deal with people giving negative thoughts around me. This is a question from one of our participants.
Okay, so the moment concentration is the outcome, but the problem area here, as you rightly mentioned in the question, is about people giving you negative thoughts. So people will not plan, or they will not work on your state of mind. They are not, I'm not saying that they are not bothered, but I don't think, because they themselves are not aware about their own emotional state. Most of us, we are not taking care of our own emotional hygiene. The way you wash your hands to stay away from coronavirus, we don't take any measures in a day to stay away from negative thoughts. But is there a possibility of that? Answer is yes. The way you can keep physical hygiene by keeping your hands clean, by putting a mask on your face, same way there are steps and methods to take care of your emotional hygiene. I request and invite you to get into more details of the techniques required for emotional hygiene. And once you take care of your emotional hygiene, you will see that you will stop giving too much importance to other people's thoughts, and more importantly, even when the moment you stop giving importance to yourself, then you realize that whatever people are talking about you is fine. I mean, that's what they want to say. That's absolutely fine. When your own thoughts are not who you are, when your own feelings are not who you are, then why bother about other people's thoughts? So that will, I'm sure, will definitely help you in concentrating on what you are committed to. Next.
Okay, the next one is from Nivedita. She's asking us how to be mindful when we are in a very bad situation where nothing is going as planned, and this situation will result in a huge loss of monetary and personal valuables as well.
Yeah, so to be very honest, the use or the importance of being in a mindful state or knowing about whatever we spoke on today's call is critical in those moments. Otherwise, when everything is hunky dory, joy, happiness, fun, enjoyment is going around you, that time, okay, if you will be mindful or not mindful, it is important to be mindful then also. But the real test is when things are not going well. And I think that is the time when you will see that when you start being with yourself, when you start observing yourself, and that is why I said I discussed about creating 13 specially. Here we emphasize a lot on mindful journaling. So when you are going through those phases where things are not going good, I think journaling or just simply writing. And what is the requirement for this? A simple notepad and a book. There is no app, no mobile, nothing required. A simple notebook or a diary and a pen or a pencil to write. Start writing and find the magic. You start just for 10 minutes. Initially it will be difficult. You will don't find ways to do it or not find any interest to do it. Start by simply writing, I woke up at 7 a.m. in the morning. my thoughts are ABC. That's it. For the first few days, even if this much is fine, you will see the magic how you start developing this habit, and then how the catharsis of your thoughts happen, which will help you definitely in building more positive thoughts. Okay, next.
Okay, I can see many questions coming up about the videos of this specific webinar. I would like to answer that, Mr. Prasanna, with your permission.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't see any
uh,
harm. I don't see any harm, Vishal. We can definitely share. Not just that. In fact, they can get touch base with me, as I said on my Twitter
mhm.
ID. Also, I have shared. And if there are any questions which we cannot cover in this particular webinar because of time frame, I am happy to address them later on as well. So feel free to write to @prasanna@1177. And as I said, I will try my best to answer to the best of my ability.
Great.
Of course,
I will
video
just
answer to your video question,
yeah.
Vishal, is yes. I don't find any problem in sharing with anyone.
Perfect. I will just add up here for all the participants. As Mr. Prasanna said, we do share the videos. You can check out our YouTube channel, and I have already shared a link with each one of you. Or in your question and answer pane, you can see a short URL being shared with you. You can subscribe to that channel, and you can see our previous webinars on various topics, or maybe the future ones as well. Let's take next last two questions. I would say we have a lot of questions coming up. Maybe with the time constraint, I won't see that we will be answering each one of them. Maybe we can revert to them later.
Yeah,
And
yeah, sure. So whatever few maybe in the next 5 minutes we can cover, we'll complete in
sure.
5 minutes. No, not a problem, Vishal. So honestly, I want to answer. I have no problem at all. Only thing is because of the time constraint, it is a challenge. So let's try
Yes.
to be quick in the next 5 minutes. We can cover as much as is possible.
Okay, let me quickly club almost
Yeah.
three questions here. These are pretty much related. The participants have asked about any best book or resource available online to improve the mindfulness. And one of the participants has also asked if you can please advise us on the best book with the author name as well.
Yeah, so this headspace itself, Andy Pudukombe is the person who was a monk in fact in past, and then he left the monastery and he has written a book on, I think, guidelines to mindfulness or guiding headspace, something like that. So there is some book which is there. You can just Google it and you will be able to find. Andy Pudukombe is the name of the author, and he is also the co-founder of Headspace app. I think that would be the best book if you are going for a Headspace as a application to be used. Otherwise, there are various books which I will definitely share on my tweet to answer what exactly can be referred. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Is there any good technique to sleep in time daily? And I have been finding difficult to fall asleep, which is impacting my well-being also. This is question from Mr. Jiggers.
Yeah. So in today's world, many people are finding this as a challenge, and reasons can be many. One of the major important reason I would say is the distractions which we have, especially just before the sleep time. So first is to find and fix a timing to sleep. Many of the times, what we do is we go by the flow. Like one day we sleep at 11 o'clock, maybe one day we sleep at even late up to 1 a.m. We don't sleep, and then there are times when you get early to sleep, so you may be sleeping around 10:30 also. So that's not the best way to do it. So my hint would be, rather than giving a solution, I would give some ideas. So one is to fix a time, then make sure you stay away from your mobile maybe around 1 hour at least before the sleep. Try to minimize consumption of coffee or tea after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So maybe around 2 p.m. or so, or last, in case if you are used to drinking tea around 4 o'clock, because many people in India, we are used to that 4:30 tea or 5 o'clock tea. So that should be your last. After that, don't go for caffeine or tea or any kind of that consumption. People who consume alcohol, I think best is to avoid, or maybe to moderate that consumption, because that has direct relationship with your state and quality of sleep and the depth of sleep which you can achieve. So these are some of the things. Of course, there are many which you can find related to maybe taking a bath, having some soothing music, having a good fragrance. Most importantly, your sleeping place, you should be using it only for sleeping, which means that you should not start reading book in your bed or browsing your mobile in your bed, because then your mind gets a message that this is a place for doing many things and not only sleep. So that is something which you have to fix. So when it comes to sleep, bed, that's it. Bed, not for your mobile, not for your office work, not for doing TV watching or any other thing. So I think those are some of the tips which I would say. Okay, Vishal?